After a ton of delays and major changes to its design, Dying Light 2 finally came out this year. And while the reviews were pretty lukewarm, especially on the story side, Techland's new adventure still had tons to offer in terms of world building. In fact, the game was chock full of secrets hidden across the map. So, in today's video, we're gonna walk you through some Easter eggs and cool moments that you probably missed. First up, transport into Doom and slay some demons. The game is easily one of the most iconic first-person games ever made, and at this point, it's been ported to pretty much everything. Like you could literally install it on a calculator or even a pregnancy test if you're really trying to get weird with it. So, with all the fast-paced action and combat in Dying Light 2, we weren't surprised to stumble upon an actual Doom-inspired level. However, the commitment to the bit here is super impressive, since this isn't just you playing the game on an arcade machine or something. Instead, you get a full retro experience like the classic pixel look and bright projectiles. On top of that, the zombies also behave like demons crawling straight out of hell. Besides, getting to the hidden level's a piece of cake too. All you've got to do is locate 5 black ducks in the game and head to the basement of the VNC building. So yeah, if you're a Doom fan, you've got to check this one out. Up next, fulfill your Darth Vader fantasy by force-choking zombies. Now, continuing on from the Doom level, be careful not to rush through it, as there's some pretty cool stuff hidden inside that level. For instance, if you find a secret door in that stage, you'll be rewarded with the blueprint for a ranged weapon called Dying Force. Oh, and if you inspect the item's description, it says something along the lines of, "Be careful not to choke on your aspirations," which, if you don't know, is a line from Rogue One. And once you've accumulated 369 scraps to craft this weapon, you're in for a treat because, yep, this is an actual force choke. So, hitting attack will result in your enemies levitating in the air while holding onto their necks as you slowly extend your menacing grip. Plus, you could even use it against hordes of zombies to truly live out your Sith Lord fantasy. But of course, we wouldn't recommend indulging in the dark side of the Force, since it is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural after all. Now, grab the golden snitch while flying on this magical broom. Alright, we're not too far from an actual Harry Potter game coming out in the form of Hogwarts Legacy. However, if you really can't wait to feel like a wizard or witch from that fantastical world, then Dying Light 2's got you covered. Oh, and again, it's not just a gimmick, as Techland's put in some actual dev work to bring a usable flying broom to their world. Seriously, you could literally just hop onto this magic broom and fly around the city at your will, which will obviously make the game a lot easier. Plus, with the upcoming co-op mode, you could even team up and play a round of Quidditch with grenades. Getting the broom is kinda tricky though, and you'd have to be on your top game to reach it. Just head to the top of the VNC tower and search for another rooftop with a crane on it. Now, use your glider to get there and climb up the crane. After that, collect a bunch of mushrooms in that location to unlock the parkour challenge called Baba Yaga. And once you load into that challenge, you'll be able to fly around the city on your brand new Harry Potter broom. After that, get the Mistress Sword and save Hyrule. Now, the name Mistress Sword may not ring any bells for you, but if you think for a second, you'll realize that it's a reference to Master Sword from The Legend of Zelda. But wait, why didn't Techland just call it that? Well, they probably didn't want to get sued into oblivion by Nintendo. With that said though, it's in the game, and we're so here for it. Like, we don't know about you, but if there's a Zelda Easter egg in any game, we're going after it. Sadly, the Mistress Sword isn't the all-powerful weapon that you'd hope it would be. And as a matter of fact, it isn't even an actual sword. Instead, it's a machete that deals 0 damage. Yep, you heard that right. This weapon does no damage at all. So what's the point of getting it? Well, apart from the fact that it's a cool Easter egg, you could also use this bad boy to trigger your enemies, which, in hindsight, doesn't sound like much of a use case either. But hey, it's Zelda related, so we'll give it a pass. Also, you can have a go on the hoverboard from Back to the Future. With so much emphasis on parkour and ways to traverse the land in Dying Light 2, there's no way that Techland was ever gonna pass up the opportunity to add an actual hoverboard from Back to the Future 2. So of course they added this little thing too in all of its colorful glory. Like, you could literally envision Marty McFly on this thing the second you look at it. However, much like the flying broom, getting your hands on this isn't the easiest thing in the world. In fact, this is probably the most difficult secret item to get in the game. For instance, you've got to get to the top of a church with a military airdrop and then get the power back up. And from there, you'll unlock the challenge to fly around and do some sick ollies and 360s on this thing. Next up, go cyberpunk with the Cyber Hands 2177. Okay, so we all know that Cyberpunk 2077 wasn't exactly the most well-received game of all time. However, the promise and potential of that game were so high that most people were instantly sold on it the minute CD Projekt Red revealed it. With that said, if you're still reeling from that game's botched release and want to experience something similar but in a more well-crafted world, then Techland's added the iconic weapon from Cyberpunk into their game. No, seriously, this thing is a complete ripoff of the Mattis blades that you've probably used in Night City, but of course they're not nearly as powerful here as the real thing. Still, the damage output is decent enough to have some fun around an area with lower leveled enemies, especially if they're bunched up into a group. Now, to add the Cyberhands 2177 to your inventory, you need to make your way up to the top of the VNC tower and glide over to the building with the big antenna from the southwest edge. Once you land there, climb up to the rooftop using ventilation ducts, and from that point, head over to another building with an NPC on top and talk to him. At the end of the conversation, he'll give you the blueprints for the weapon, which only requires a single piece of scrap. So wake up, samurai, you've got a city to burn. And finally, spawn footballs and go crazy at the soccer field. Dying Light 2 has one of the best physics systems in any game since, well, the gameplay loop kinda demands that sort of flexibility. And of course, when you've got dope physics in your game, you gotta have footballs lying around the map for people to kick. But what if we told you that you could actually craft these and spawn as many of them as you want in a stadium? Yep, all you've gotta do is head to the north of Old Villador, where you'll find a football pitch with a ball and a goal. Obviously, it's kinda weird that someone has left this stuff untouched in the middle of a zombie apocalypse, but we'll let it slide. Now, kick the ball into the goal over and over again to be rewarded with a bunch of stuff, like the Shocker Longsword. On your 9th goal, however, a massive dancing zombie will spawn in the middle of the field, and once you defeat it, a box will spawn between the goalposts, within which you'll find a blueprint called United in Fun, Everyone Can Play. When you craft this blueprint, it'll spawn a football for you to play with. The best part about this thing though is the fact that you can spawn these balls anywhere you want. Like you could literally climb up to the top of the VNC tower and start shooting balls at the ground from there. Or if you want to invite a friend into your world for some co-op action, then that's possible as well. Oh, and of course, since this is something that doesn't simply poof away after use, you could spawn 1,000 footballs and wreak havoc. Besides, who knows, maybe there's a zombie Ronaldo roaming the streets, ready to take you on in a 1v1 soccer match. That's a wrap for this video. Which Dying Light 2 Easter egg do you want to find in your next playthrough? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.